Hello, everybody. Please give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. If you can hear me loud and clear. It is Math Day. It is no California Math Day. How's everyone doing? So, first and foremost, I got a big thumbs up there. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And you see, for those of you who are new, so give me a big hello, welcome. If this is your first webinar, this is a great one to start on. We're going to start on math. So what I want to tell you is this. I always preface my math webinars with the fact that if this is not clicking for you, Allison, welcome to the Stew Crew. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight. We're doing a lot of math tonight. Something I do want to tell you guys and remind you, you could pause this, you could rewind this. We are recording this, so you will have access to this later on, okay? So, what I want to tell you is this. I want to make sure that you realize that math is not going to be for everybody. It's just not going to be that way, okay? So, if you're having a situation where you're watching me do a problem and you want to put the whatchamacallit, you want to put the brain exploding emoji up there, I get it, totally cool. What I'll tell you is this: the math on the test is not super difficult, okay, but we do have to shake the cobwebs off of a couple different things. So I want to tell you first and foremost, I want to start this math webinar with how important it is for you to tackle the questions a certain way, okay? And this is really important. So I haven't done this in a couple of math webinars, so I really want to kind of stress this and go over what, to me, is really the most important thing about being successful in the math. And that is, you read through the question, identify what it is they're looking for. Okay? Identify what it is they're looking for, and then identify your first step. Because there's a couple things that I'm going to tell you. Also, another amazing tip and trick, I want you to save all of your math for the end. Because a lot of you are sitting here saying, hey, math is intimidating. I'm really nervous about this. So what happens is automatically, what you'll see is this. You'll get to a point where you'll see numbers as the answers, and you'll start going crazy. You'll start tensing up, okay? And you'll start getting stressed before you even read the question and know what it is, okay? And the question could be something as easy as, which one of these is an odd number and which one is an even number? Something like that. So what happens is you might be stressing about it for no reason. So I want you to make sure that you save all your math to the end. Why? Because if you have an extra 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever it is, you could sit there and know that the math questions are not taking any time away from any of your other questions. And also, you could sit there and put as much or as little effort into it as you want. So save it for the end. Read the question and assess what it is that they're asking you. Because here's another fantastic math tip I'm going to tell you, okay? I'm going to tell you this. If you read the question and you don't know what they're asking you for and you have no clue how to get to it, why even punch numbers into a calculator? It's going to be a four-sided coin that you're flipping, okay? Ellis, congratulations for passing your test. Way to go, way to go, way to go. And anyone who is taking their test soon, recently, this upcoming weekend, good luck, okay? Let's send some good positive vibes out there. So back to the regularly scheduled program, what I was saying over here, is this. You want to make sure that if you don't know how to answer it, you're not spending 20 minutes trying to plug different numbers into a calculator, dividing, multiplying, and seeing if you could come close to one of the numbers in the answer. So that's something you don't want to take time away from any other question that you might have, okay, in order to do that. So what I want to do today is I want to do, there was a great question that was asked of me earlier, and I wanted to go into that. It's not a multiple choice, but I want you to see if you could figure out what the process is here. So this is what I'm going to tell you. We're really going to be talking about a lot of the stuff here is the process by which we actually sit there and come to it. So before I go into this question, I'm going to show you how I want you to work through some of the practice exams if you're going to be doing the Prep Agent practice exams. So I'm going to go to the Prep Agent dashboard, okay, and I'm going to go to a math master exam. And here's what I want you to do when you're practicing on your own, okay, is I want you to look at the question, and instead of going through it by yourself and getting a wrong answer, I want you to check it and follow it step by step and see where in your process, okay, where in your process that you would have come to tackle the question, you would have gotten that that answer. So that's what I want you guys doing when you're practicing on your own. Now, let's get into actual questions and let's start talking about it. So, again, I'm giving you a lot of tips and tricks about, number one, how you study for the math, okay, how you make it a little chewable, and number two, how you kind of tackle it for the day of the test, okay? Because I think that a lot of this is going to be, that's probably like 85% of the battle, okay? So, let's take a look at this question. I'm going to read it out loud, and I'm going to go through this step by step, okay? Seller wants to net $50,000 after paying a 6% commission and paying off a $52,000 mortgage balance, okay? How much does the home sell for, or have to sell for? So here's the thing. We're working at this backwards, okay? We're working at this backwards, so let's take a look and see what the story is here. So I'm I'm going to ask you guys, okay, what do you think my first step is going to be here, okay? What do you think our first step is going to be? Anyone. Let me know what you think. Put it in the chat box over in the webinar, and I'd be more than happy to take a look, see what you guys are coming up with. So what it's asking for, yeah, that's a look. Yvette, you put a good question in there. What is it asking for? Okay, so Janine, boom. I think you're gonna get the first gold star of our math torture session. Okay, we're gonna add the 50,000 and the 52,000 together. Okay, so we're gonna add 50,000 and the 52,000 together, okay? Now, here's what that is. She said, yay. Absolutely. So what happens here is this. And some of you guys are actually saying, hey, what's the answer? I don't know, because you know what? I actually haven't done this problem yet before, okay? So I'm doing this step by step with you guys. So we're going to get $102,000, okay? $102,000, okay? And the $102,000 is representative of what? Oh, Pravina, yeah. So that is definitely a good step. So here's what we're looking at. Because here's the thing. If I said a home sold for, $130,000, the seller wanted to net $50,000. He paid a 6% commission and all that stuff. You would understand the linear way to go about doing that. But right now, what we have is we're kind of working backwards. So what we have to do is add the 50,000 to the 52,000 to come up with the number that they would get after paying a 6% commission. So this is the $102,000, okay, is 94% of the number we're looking for, okay? So what we would do is this. We would divide 102,000 by 94%. And what would we get, guys? What would the number be? Because like I said, I'm doing this with you guys first. So this is something that I haven't even done the math. I don't know what the right answer is. So 102,000 divided by 0.94 equals 108,510. Okay, or that was what I got. Okay, 108,510. Okay, so someone asked a very logical question. So why don't you multiply it by 6%? Okay, why don't you multiply it by 6%? So is my screen cutting off a little bit? Let's zoom out. There we go. I hope that helps out. Thank you for keeping me honest. Okay, so why don't you multiply this 102,000 by 6%? Well, because that represents the number that they would get after the 6% was backed out of it, okay? Was after the 6% was taken out of it. So what happens is we don't want to find 6% of that. See, the number that you guys got, which was 108,510, okay? That you would take 6% out of that, and that would give you 102%. And guys, don't worry about this if you're not getting it, because as I told you, this is something that it's going to be, some of this is going to click for you, some of it is not, you know, because the math is not easy, okay? So, let's keep going and move on to another question, okay? And this one, there's always going to be an amortization table question. Okay, there's always going to be an amortization table question. So, let's take a look at what the amortization table question is, and then how we figure it out. So Clark put it together beautifully. 100%, which is the answer, minus 6% would give you 94%. So that number is representative of already taken into account the 6% commission. Yeah. So let's keep moving. Let's keep grooving with our torture session. And like I said, guys, I want you to understand that you're going to get some of these math problems. Some of these are going to be a little more difficult. But what I'll tell you is just watch them on repeat, and also take that that process that I told you at the beginning of the webinar, where you go into Prep Agent, you go to your math section, you click the answer, and then you do the problem along with the solution to see where you would have gone wrong. Because here's the thing with math, and I think this is where people get really tripped up, is they take someone said, Stu, could you just please take my test? Listen, that would be quite a racket I would have, right? You know, me and Joe just taking tests for people. So, however, I digress a little bit. That was funny. I had to comment on that. What I was saying to you is this: where a lot of people go wrong is they start trying to tackle the math questions in that math test, and they go about it wrong. They apply a wrong formula, or they apply wrong steps to the process, and what happens is they're actually just reinforcing bad habits. Okay, you're basically just sitting there. If you try to tackle, it's like this. And I'm going to give you an analogy because I think that this is important. It's like if I had the recipe to, one of my favorite dishes is chicken franchise, okay? And actually, 3 summers ago, I perfected it, okay? Now, what happened was this. It was through a lot of trial and error, and I had my end results, and I kept doing it. But here's the thing. If I kept doing it the same way, with the same recipe, and expecting a different result, I'd be sitting there, it'd be pretty futile. I'd probably be getting the same results every single time, okay? So that's why when you guys are sitting here and practicing some of your math questions, if you have things that you need to adjust in your mind in regards to how you're approaching it, then what happens is this. You need to adjust them prior to you starting it, because again, what I did with my chicken franchise, journey was I was tweaking it as I was going, and I was writing down different things where I go, okay, maybe I'll do this, and maybe I'll add this, and maybe I'll do that. And so the next time I did it, I changed my process. Okay, I changed my process, and it was something that I approached it differently rather than doing the same thing that I was doing. So I hope that that helps you out. Okay. So let's keep moving. Let's keep grooving. So this question says, based on the amortization table, answer the following. What is the maximum loan amount a buyer can take out if they can only afford $1,200 per month and have been approved for 2 loans, 20-year at 3% and a 30-year at 4.125? Round your answer to the nearest 100. Okay? So, let's take a look at the amortization table. And actually today I was working with a student and I said, so you have to use the amortization table. He said, what do you mean? Is that the thing that they gave me that was on the back of my sheet? And I said, yes. That's what you need to use. And he said, oh. He goes, yeah, I didn't even look at it. He said, no wonder why these questions were so hard. So again, knowing is half the battle. So here's an amortization table, and I'm going to just zoom in a little bit. I think I got 1 click in, and I could show you this much. So here's what an amortization table is showing you. So I want you, while I take a quick sip of water, tell me what an amortization table is showing you. So looking at this right now, okay, and I'm cutting off the bottom because we don't need the bottom. So for those of you who are saying, hey, Stu, can't see the bottom, I just want you to see what you're looking at here. What is an amortization table showing you? So why don't you guys type that in, tell me in the chat box what an amortization table shows you. So someone said that it shows you payments. So here's the thing. Think of this as a really fun multiplication table, okay? You have you have a situation right here that shows you the rates. So right down here you have all the rates. Boom, 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 boom. Then you have all the terms. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, all the terms. Now, once you know the terms, and then you know the interest rates, what you do is like multiplication tables. Multiplication tables. You would take the 3%, and let's say it was a 15-year term. You would go down here to this little number right there, and this is, boom, Marisol, you passed on your first try. Congrats. Okay? And you passed in California and you're coming into the math exam? That is a great... You must really love us if you're coming to the math webinar if you're a California person. So congrats. But let's get back to regularly scheduled program. Here we got the payment of 6.90582. Okay, and that is, so tell me, what is the payment? Is that principal? Is that interest? What is that payment amount? I want to know. I want to know a little bit about that. So talk to me, guys. Talk to me about what that payment is. It's my monthly payment. Is that principal? Is that interest? Is that for the whole life of the loan? Is it going to change? Talk to me about this. I'm looking at 15 years. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. And I just picked a random number, just so that we could talk about the topic of whatchamacallit, of what an amortization table shows you. So it shows you principal and interest. So So here's the thing: if you were looking for an interest-only loan, okay, also known as a straight note, you would be going to that column, right? You would be going to that column. So this is showing you principal and interest per... Oh, Lisa, thank you. Yes, payments per $1,000 on the loan, okay? Payment is $1,000 per loan. So here's the thing. You're looking at a big sheet, okay? a big sheet of $1,000 loans. So here's the thing. If you wanted to know what a $15,000 loan would be, okay, you would sit here and you would get, whatchamacallit, you would have, you would multiply that by 15. And that payment would be every single month for 15 years. That would be your payment on a fully amortized loan. Right? So that is each payment per 1,000. So I see a lot of you guys getting it here, and that's important. I think that's important to know and understand so that the amortization table should be gimmies, should be gimme questions, okay? Should be easy as Parcheesi when it's greasy. Grease up that board, watch those pieces slide. So now, let's go back over to our question as I struggle with technology, okay? Hey now, technology hasn't had its coffee this morning. Now, let's look at this, okay? The question is asking, based on an amortization table, answer the following. What is the maximum loan amount if the buyer can only afford $1,200 per month? Now, here's the thing. Instead of us going back and forth to each one of the situations, what I'm doing here is I wrote them down already for you. So we have our 30-year, as if I did the row and column, right? Or that's the opposite way. If I did the row and column and found out what the monthly payment would be, and our 20-year, okay? So, who knows if we were going to just tackle this one first. So what we're looking for is we're looking to try to find out what is the maximum they could afford with a budget of $1,200, okay? The maximum they could afford with a budget of $1,200 if the payments were $4.84, 650. So what is our first step going to be if we're trying to tackle the pink Post-it note over here on the left? The pink Post-it note. Tell me what the first step would be. Let's see what you guys think. Type it in the chat box there. Someone's already skipping ahead and giving me answers to things. Okay. So I want to go step by step with you guys. So let's talk about what we're going to do first, okay? What we're going to do first is this, as I make a big Post-it note. Technology today doesn't even want to do math, okay? So, let's do this. So someone said multiply it by 1,200. I'm not going to multiply it by 1,200, okay? What we're going to do is this. We want to find out, okay, how many of these little payments fit into our $1,200 budget. So we're going to divide 1,200 by the 4.84650, okay? So why don't you go ahead and do that and tell me what answer you get, okay? Tell me what answer you get. And here's the thing, there's a couple different ways to tackle this, but I like this way to do it, okay? Because it's going to give you, it just makes logical sense. We have a budget, right? We have a budget of $1,200 per month. We want to figure out how many of these little payments fit into that budget. So I see a bunch of you saying 247.60, okay? So someone said, what are the bottom numbers on the Post-it notes? That is our monthly payment that I got from the amortization table. Instead of me going back and forth, I kind of did the homework already for you guys so that you have that, okay? So I was a good teacher, okay? So that is great. So that 247.60 is going to be, let's identify that. The 247.60, okay, is how many excuse me, how many of those payments fit into the $1,200, and each of those payments is per 1,000. So what are we going to do with the 247.60 if that is how many payments per 1,000 fit into it? What do you think we're going to do with that? We're going to multiply this by 1,000. So go ahead and multiply that by 1,000. And if I'm a smart stew, it's going to look like something like this. 247,600. Okay. that is, so Lisa said, hey, we're going to multiply it by 12. No, because what happens is this. That payment that we got, understand the amortization table, here's what it's showing you. It's showing you the monthly payment per 1,000. So here, we just got a great answer right there. $247,600 for that. So that's how much they could afford on that loan. And here's what I want you to do. You ready? Let's go to the next one, okay? Let's go to the next one. So let's look at the 20-year, okay? So Andrea wrote in, or Andrea, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. Thanks, but 4.8650 is a what from the table. That's the monthly payment for the 30-year at 4.125%. I just, instead of me going back and forth, I just wrote it down for you so that we didn't have to, like I said, keep shimmying over for that to find what that number was. So it's easier for us to just work right on this one. So why don't you guys go ahead and apply the, whatchamacallit, and apply the same exact logic here. We're going to divide the payment amount, right? We're going to take the payment amount and figure out how many times it goes into our budget, right? Oh my gosh, look at you guys already writing that in there for me. So you got 216.37. And that is how many of those payments fit into our $1,200 monthly budget, right? Now, that being said, okay, the amount that they could afford on the 20-year would be $216,370, right around there. So the most that they could afford would be based off of the 30-year at 4.125%. They would be able to afford $247,600. Okay? Give yourself a gold star for sticking with me on that one. I appreciate it. I know it's difficult. I tried to make that as easy as possible. Remember, we do have this on rewind for you on replay. So you could sit there and go along with me and hear the explanations for each and every step. So let's keep moving. Let's keep grooving, guys. Let's go to another question, okay? Let's see. I like this one. This one's one of my favorites, okay? You guys always hate this one, okay? And it's similar to one that we just did. So I want to take a look at this, and I'm going to show you all of the work while I'm doing this, so that what you could do is you could go along at your own pace or listen to me explain this, okay? Because I know some of you want to go a little faster. Some of you are going to, are going to want to take this in a little slower. So Jillian wrote in a question. If they say they can only pay this amount, but you know the escrow will increase that amount, do you account for that as well? Okay. In real life, not math problems. Practical sense, I usually, so here's what I'm going to tell you, just a little practical thing. I always defer to my lenders and my lending experts in regards to the situation there. So that's a great question, and I know that you said in real life, not in the math problem. So I appreciate you saying that, because, and I try to answer all the questions as much as possible. So here's the situation. Let's read this question, okay? A salesperson is trying to determine how much to suggest for a listing price. The lot is worth $20,000 and the house is 1,500 square feet at $50 per square foot. And a 6% sales commission is to be included. The price that will meet this is... Now, this is very similar to the first question that we had, just worded a little differently. So we're going to be using a lot of the same techniques, okay? So here's the situation, and let's take a look at the answer. You're going to take the $20,000 lot, so that we know, okay? And what we're going to do is add it to the price of the home. And now the price of the home, how to determine what that would be, is you're going to take 1,500 square feet, multiply it by 50 because it's $50 per square foot, okay? And that's going to give you 95,000, okay? And a lot of you are asking the question of, how am I getting the 94%, okay? Because what happens is this. There's a 6% sales commission to be included, okay? So the 6% is backed out of whatever the answer is. So there's actually two ways you could solve for these when you have the answer. You could add, stop right here at where I'm going to draw the line, find that 95,000, okay? And then what you would do is say, okay, after I take out the 6% sales commission, okay, what would give me a $95,000 price? So what would happen is you basically have to figure out, so it's 6% minus 100%. It's 100% minus 6%. That's how I'm getting it, okay? I'm getting the 94% because what happens is the lot and home price are not including the commission, okay? The commission is coming off of the unidentified number that we don't know, okay? So you could either take it off and subtract 6% from each of those, okay? And here's the thing. Let me tell you this. Some of your teachers will probably say to you, no, don't go through the answers and to subtract 6% off of each of those and try to figure it out. Listen to what I'm going to tell you. Stu tip. You're already saving the math questions for the end, so you have extra time, okay? And if your brain works that way, if that's how your brain is saying to you, this is how you need to tackle this math question, then guess what? Do it that way, okay? Do it exactly the way that is the path of least resistance for you, okay? And that's why I tell you guys, don't stress with the math because what would happen is this. If you stress with the math, you're fighting against 12 plus years of a foundational knowledge of how you're going to tackle a mathematical word problem. That's why when I start explaining to you as adults how I'm getting this number, okay, then what happens is this. It might buck against what you're used to, what you think would be the right way for you, okay? And here's what I do. I'm just trying to give you all the different tips, tricks, and tools to make you successful at the math, okay? So, someone said, when it says that the commission is included is when we're looking for 100% minus the commission mentioned. Yeah, so basically what happens is similar to the first question we did, okay? Basically, the 6% hasn't been included yet because the end number is going to have the 6% in it already, okay? So here we have, and I'm going to wrap this one up. So we know that the lot and the home price are $95,000, okay? And we got that by adding the lot of $20,000 plus the home price, which was 1,500 square feet at $50 per square foot, okay? And we add those two together, it gives us 95,000. So we have 95,000 divided by 94%, would give us an answer of $101,064. And that's the answer for this question D, okay? So, as we move and groove, let's keep going and go to another question, okay? And I want to do this one because a lot of you guys always ask me for proration questions. And I'm going to give you my tips, tricks, and amazing tools to help you through the proration questions, okay? So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to read this out to you, okay? I'm going to tell you what my thoughts are, what you should be doing, okay? And what we'll do is this. We'll go through this one together. So here is the situation, okay? On July 6th, a property sold. The water bill of $95 and the yearly tax bill of $5,200 will be paid by the buyer for the current year. When prorated at closing, What amount does the seller owe the buyer? Round your answer to the nearest dollar. So, here is how I do this one. Now, I'm going to tell you this because I don't think it's really clear in this question. The $95 is an annual number, as is the $5,200. So the first thing that we could do is this. And again, let's go with what we're trying to understand and solve for, because I told you guys that should be your step one, okay? So what we're trying to figure out is how much the seller owes the buyer. Now understand this, okay? You have a situation where you're going to be using a banking calendar. That's 360 days in a year, okay? And 30 days in a month, okay? So 30 days in a month, okay? And 360 days in a year. Unless they tell you otherwise, okay? Unless they tell you otherwise, that is the solution for how you're going to prorate everything. Unless they tell you otherwise, that is how you're going to be going about prorating. So, what I like to do is this, okay? $5,200, $95. Just add them together. The next thing that I will say is this. We're going to divide it by 360. Because I like to, Stu, I like to find, okay, the daily amount. So Diana said, how do you know that the $95 water bill is the yearly amount? So what I said was this. What I said, it wasn't terribly clear in the wording of this, and I did yield you that one. So Diana, you're right in saying that, hey, I'm not really sure that this is the, that this is the, that the water bill is annual, but that's why I wanted to give you that up front. I gave you that little caveat of saying, hey, let's assume that that is an annual number as well, okay? So what do we get when we divide 360, when we divide 52.95 by 360? That gives us a daily number. So what is that daily number? So I see someone wrote in 1470. No one's arguing with Clara's math. So Clara, your math might stand as the winner. Okay, winner, chicken dinner. Okay, 5295 divided by 360. Yeah, I'm looking at about like 1470. Okay, I'm fine with that one, 1471. So now what we have to do is we have to figure out how many days was the seller in the property. Okay, how many days was the seller in the property? So someone said, do we round up? Round up, round down, keep it the same. It depends. So it says to round it to the nearest dollar. So when you get the answer, you'll kind of see. In all of these, there really isn't two answers that are terribly close together. So now, when you have the daily amount, what we have to do is multiply it by how many days, and I'll go with 71, multiply it by how many days the seller was in the property, okay? Because it says how much did the seller owe the buyer. So someone said 210 days. I have 216 days. Do I have something else? Do I have another? We have a lot of different days. So, 186 days. Okay, Janine, you are probably the closest, but no cigar. So, let's figure this out. You ready? July 6th. 30 days in a month. So they were in it how many months? January, February, okay? March, April, May, June. They were in it for 6 months because we are in the 7th month. The 7th month is not completed. So 6 times 30 would give me 180, right? Would give us 180. And Joanne, or Joan, I think it's Joan, hopefully it is, 185? I love that answer. Yeah, 185. The buyer has it for the buyer always takes possession on that day and is responsible for that day. Okay? Buyer takes possession and is responsible for that day, so it is 185 days. So we would be multiplying 185 times 14.71, and that would give us an answer of, let's do some math, guys. Wiggle, wiggle, chickens giggle. Let's get some math in there. 2721. Okay. So Giselle wrote in a fantastic question. Okay. Gio wrote in another fantastic question. Wait, February has 28 days. No, it does not have 28 days. Do you know why it doesn't have 28 days? Because I told you guys that we're working off of 360 days, 30 days in every month. 30 days in every month, Stu? 30 days in every month. Yes, absolutely. That's called a banking calendar. Okay? Winner, winner, chicken dinner. That's how we do it. It's 2721. Yeah, after all these numbers, you get a headache, right? Well, guess what? And this year has 29 days. Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, look, I hope I didn't torture you too much. I hope you had some fun. Okay? A little bit of fun. But we can't have too much fun when we're talking about numbers, right? But guess what? Tomorrow, guys, tomorrow is everyone's favorite day of the week. It's Friday, okay? And guess what? It is going to be Facebook Friday. Facebook Friday. What does that mean? That means that we are going to be talking about your burning desires questions. Thank you so much, John, for telling me that I rock. You rock too, okay? And I will tell you this. It is going to be a fun time. If you are not on Facebook, don't worry. You can always send in a question. I'd be more than happy to answer it. Remember to tag me in some of your posts, some of your crazy questions, okay? And I'd be more than happy to answer them for you. Hey, if you want to have private lessons with either myself or Cynthia, you go right here to private tutoring, and you can see we're there, okay? And you have Cynthia right at the bottom, and you have myself, my smiling, wonderful face, right up top, okay? So if you guys have any questions, concerns, burning desires, you could always, try to reach out to us, schedule something with us. We'd be more than happy to help you on a one-on-one basis. And how you tag me is just the regular old traditional way, but you could also reach out to me. I'm always trying to be as accessible as humanly possible. So, guys, I hope you like this one. I hope it didn't fry your brains too much. Have a good night. Get some rest. And get ready for tomorrow where we wrap up the weekend. We go right into Facebook Friday. I'm going to see you guys real soon.